Hey, welcome to Gridlock, the show that's bringing you all the bass-pounding, gridlock-causing rides of today. Whether you're into bikes, cars, Gridlock has them all. Today, we're here at Comanche Custom Cycles, here to check out some sick rides, custom-made, custom worked on by our friends at Comanche. All right, man, so we're here with our buddy, Vince Falco. How you doing?
Good, thanks, man.
So Vince, tell us, what you got going on?
Well, we're fixing little motorcycles, trying to stay out of the rain.
Cool.
And, you know, seeing if we can cut some things up, make some sparks, and destroy some things. It's kind of a full service shop. You know, we do motor builds and basic service, tires. We like to cut things up too.
Nice.
We cut some frames in half and sometimes more than half and try and put them back together in a way that we think looks a little bit better.
Cool, cool. So tell me, what's the difference between you and outsourced county choppers?
Well, I think that name kind of sums it up, you know what I mean? Anybody could build a bike if they hire 40 different people to get all the stuff from, you know? Buy a frame over here, have this place build your engine, this place build your trans, maybe a little paint work over here. So in the end, you have a bike that was built about this much by you and about this much by everybody else. Here we kind of do it all.
So remember, here at Gridlock, Gridlock only comes to Comanche if you want your bike built correctly.
This is Evan Metlin, one of the mechanics, or I guess we're supposed to be politically correct and call them technicians today. He's also our resident bonsai expert. Yeah, bonsai trees. We sort of mix custom motorcycles and bonsai trees and a couple of other useless things together here at Comanche Cycles.
All right, Vince, so here we have the shop bike. Explain that one.
Well, it's not really the shop bike, it's actually Evan's bike. Evan's one of the mechanics here, and he wanted to kind of do something on his own. We did a bike for me about 2 years ago, and Evan actually did the majority of the work, and he kind of wanted to do his own thing. So what we did was, I got this frame from a friend of mine, Jeff, up in Denver. It's like an early 60s Harley frame, and really what we did was we just cut it right at the motor cradle and just took everything off the top and just utilized the motor cradle. And we just kind of let Evan sort of decided what he wanted to do, and we built the whole top of the frame. And you know, he did the gas tanks and the seat setup, which isn't quite finished, with the shock up in the front. Kind of the idea was, you know, we could do some metal work and some machining and welding and stuff, you know, things like that without breaking the bank. We took a clean new Harley 5-speed box that we had here that was empty. Evan found some, you know, full gear sets that we had lying around. So we went through and rebuilt the whole transmission. We added this kicker assembly that we had to buy, but it wasn't a lot of money. And kind of the coolest thing about the trans is, you know, this is a modern 5-speed trans that ordinarily has a giant aluminum lobe right here to hold the starter in place. But Evan took the box and stuck it in the mill and cut the starter lobe off, so now this bike can't have a starter. Here's the starter right here, your foot only. That's how, but he's a young man, you know, he can do that sort of thing. I can't, because I'm old and have to walk. But really, kind of the whole thing is just really mixing a lot of different, say, styles, new stuff, old stuff. You know, but really kind of the whole flow of the bike was just what Evan wanted to do. The hardest part about the whole thing was finding a heavy enough spring. I guess this mountain bike shop is kind of old school and people don't really do this anymore, so I had a tough time finding the spring, but I managed to find one on eBay in Canada and bought just the spring, and then Evan utilized the spring and the shock body from somewhere else and kind of put this whole thing together. And he made the toaster style split gas tanks by hand from a sheet. Wow. You know. Yeah. It's got some leftover front end, and you know, just sort of some mock-up stuff that we're just kind of, you know, just gonna make it all work. So this is Pee Wee Slice. Pee Wee Slice, in case you're wondering about the last name, is actually the half-brother of famed UFC fighter Kimbo Slice. Now, I know there's some subtle differences in their appearance. Mainly, Kimbo has very short hair and Pee Wee has this big long ponytail. But yeah, same dad, different moms. Yeah, genetics, it's a cool thing.
What is a dyno and what's it for?
Well, what it's for is it's for tuning motors, and it's for real tuning, where we can actually run the motorcycle, you know, at speed, under a load, right here in the building. Instead of us trying to drive around the neighborhood, listen to how it runs, come home, make adjustments, run it back out. We can actually put it here. We get a computer printout that shows us what's going on to make sure that we have, you know, the correct amount of fuel to air all the way through the sweep, so that you're not, you know, running your bike with a motor that's not tuned properly and damaging it.
So Vince, what do we have here?
We have my bike, which we affectionately call the Husqvarna bike. Really because of the Husqvarna gas tank, that's the only piece on it that's Husqvarna. Everything else is, you know, Harley aftermarket. But this started as a, you know, like a pile of used junk for the most part a couple years back, and I started just collecting up pieces that I thought would work. A lot of it was broken stuff off customers' bikes. I bought this Chica frame from Custom Chrome from my friend Sean at Custom Chrome. They had it on closeout for $500. I bought the bottom end of the motor off of eBay from a guy in New Jersey. It was out of a 92 bagger, you know, 80-inch. We just basically fabbed up some stuff, fixed some broken things, and just kind of slapped this thing together how I liked. Evan did a good deal of the work, but I think really kind of the thing for me was I originally had a different gas tank for it, and then Evan walked in with this tank one day. It was his uncle's garage in a box for 30 years. Wow. As soon as I seen it, I was like, that's the one. We got to put that on there. So what I did was, to give it that look, the way it sits down on the frame, it had this big high tunnel. I ended up having to kind of jack it up really high in the back to get it to clear nicely. And I had this huge space right here. So what I did was, I welded a piece of exhaust tubing right to the frame that it sits up on, but then I had a giant hole. So then I machined a piece of billet aluminum stock, drilled a hole through it, and actually put the on-off switch right there. This is how you start the bike, just like that. So we kind of, you know, made what looked like a big mess into something purposeful.
So, is this your secret stash compartment down here?
Yeah. That's where we keep all our cool stuff that we hide from the man. No, actually what it is it houses the main circuit breaker for the bike, and we kind of wanted to keep that in something that was watertight. And we originally were going to build a box, and then Evan went next door over to the liquor to get something and walked back with that box in his hand. And it's great because the thing snaps shut and locks in place, and it's watertight, and it was like $2, and we got to eat all the Altoids first. So it saved us a bunch of time, $2. Best investment, coolest part on the whole bike, the Altoids box.
Soul Train.
Oh, the Soul Train, listen, the TV show just shaped my entire life as I was a kid. You know, I know it seems odd being a white kid from the more affluent suburbs, but yeah, I'm watching me some Soul Train, and Don Cornelius definitely helped to dictate the adult man that I grew up to be. So I decided to do this bike and have it very, you know, 70s San Francisco style chopper, and, you know, at like 70s and Soul Train just go hand in hand.
What's up with the joystick?
Yeah, well, I like to do, I like to do my bikes with a foot clutch and a hand shift. And I thought it would be cool if I did something kind of big. You know, not that I invented it or anything. Matt Hotch built this really cool bike on the build off a few years back, and he had a really high stick, and I thought, man, that looks cool as shit. I don't know, maybe it was just actually his really long hair that I liked, but the stick shifters were cool. So yeah, so we took like some 5/16 round bar and some 3/16 by 3/4 inch strap, and we just laid them on top of each other, and then you know, we started heating it up with a big bar that I tack welded to the end and twisted it all up into the shape, and then kind of just molded it around this by hand. So really when I'm done, you know, you'll be using the clutch with your foot, and then you shift the bike from here. So I'm gonna actually machine a nice big exotic wood knob for it. So I always wanted a bike where I had to reach way over my head, you know, to shift it. And you know, most people don't really get it. They kind of trip out and, you know, what is that? But yeah, that's kind of what it is, man. Just, you know, sort of, you know, my own way I like it.
And what causes all the gridlock here at Comanche? All right, well, there you go. Here we are. Comanche Cycles. Vince, thanks once again.
Got it.
Thank you guys for watching Gridlok TV.